Okay, today what I want to show you guys is how to multiply two-digit by two-digit numbers using an area model. So my example will be 48 times 79. And when I say a two-digit number, I mean it has a ones and tens place. Alright, so the very first step, you draw an area model and place the factors outside of the model. Now, it looks like a window. That's usually the easiest way to remember it. Technically, an area model separates the size of the squares based on the values. However, we don't really mess around with that because that just confuses people. So, go with it looks like a window. And then we write each of these in expanded form. Now, the commutative property of multiplication tells us that the order doesn't matter, which means it doesn't really matter which number goes on top and which goes on the bottom. So, I am going to break apart my 48 into a value for my ones and a value for my tens. I'm going to break apart my 79. Please notice I wrote down the left-hand side. That is important. It's a good kind of consistent practice. It goes along with what we've done on our one-digit by four-digit. Now, once I've done that, I go to the next step. It says write the expressions inside the model. Use arrows to help you. Now, one thing I've noticed is that students tend to mess up where numbers go. So the easy trick is to do this. Begin by putting your multiplication symbol in the center of each box. And then, oh, I was hoping to have a green. Pause, getting a green marker. Okay, back. Now, what I like to tell students to do is make an arrow. And if you stop and think logically, the only way to put these numbers into this model is straight down. So you go down and fill in. Now obviously this is a 40, so I filled in with my 40. Over here I go down and I fill in with an 8. And then when I'm filling in my 70 and my 9, I make a different arrow, recognizing that the only way to go into the model is to go to the right. So I take that 70 and I fill in on the other side of my multiplication symbol. Down here I'm taking the 9 and doing the same thing. And by doing it in an orderly way like that, you can avoid the one big common mistake on this, which is putting numbers where they don't belong, which obviously leads to incorrect answers. Now, once my numbers are in the model, I solve the problem. And this was what we began with, the whole concept of candy corn math. Now in this case, I solved them inside the model. So, we multiply our single digit, 7 times 4, and that's 28. And then we just count the zeros, 1, 2, and we put them both. And again, our comma goes between the hundreds and the thousands. 7 times 8, 56. And count the zeros, we put 1. 9 times 4 is 36. We count by 0. And then here it's just two single digits. 9 times 8 is 72. Now, I've already set this up because it's easier to write straight when I'm not off to the side of the whiteboard. But what I did was I took my 4 products. These are the 4 products. Because what we're trying to show students is that 79 times 48 is not one multiplication problem. There are actually 4 problems built in there, so that when you go to the algorithm, you understand why you're doing a few things, and they'll learn that on down the road. But I simply have to line them up. This is the only other place where people make mistakes. So if you take that notebook paper and turn it so that it is math paper instead of writing paper, you won't have a misalignment mistake. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus another 7 19. I regroup. I have 8, 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 5 is 17. I regroup, and although it's kind of small and sloppy, I have 3,792. That's my final step. Now, I've given you 3 different problems to try. If you're struggling with your math facts, it's going to show up right here. That's why I keep saying single digit multiplication is the key to taking a lot of the work out of 4th grade. However, don't spend your time trying to figure out 7 times 9 or 8 times 9. Go to the agenda, find the little grid, and use that so that your energy is focused on learning this process. I know you guys can do this. Have fun.